Not that we officially needed it, but it's official now. The Phoenix Suns have clinched a playoff berth. It's the third consecutive year we're going to the playoffs, and you know what? That feels good because there were so many years in which we didn't go to the playoffs. Playing against the San Antonio Spurs, a little icing on the cake, if you will, to clinch a playoff berth, knowing that you did so against the Spurs. And it's a tale of two different franchises right now. One's clinching a playoff berth, the other is tanking for Wembanyama. Oh, how far we've come. In a dominating win by the Phoenix Suns, leading wire to wire, they do just that, Matthew. They clinch the playoff berth. Suns are going to the playoffs. Thank God.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. This is just a thing we do. We go to the playoffs. And congratulations to the Kings tonight winning the Pacific Division.
Wow.
Right? That's still a thing. That is just weird to say that we have divisions. I haven't looked at the division standings in probably since the Arizona Republic was out.
Yeah, seriously.
At,
by the way, the Arizona Republic still out. It's still
Is it still there? I remember having the Tribune, and that was like the lesser version, and then Arizona Republic was like the shit.
The Phoenix Gazette.
That was one?
That was one too. There was the Tribune, the Phoenix Gazette way back in the day. And then yeah, like Arizona Republic was just like, but I was the same way. Like growing up as a kid, you had the newspaper, you'd look at the box scores that way, you look at the standings that way per division. I still have the newspaper the day Michael Jordan retired.
Yeah, that's gonna be worth something, huh?
No.
Do you think?
No. Like my grandkids will like be going through my shit when I pass, and they're like, why? And just throw it away.
You know what? I have those boxes where you just have newspaper clippings and all that. I still have those. And I'm just like, why do I still have this? But
that's because
you're gonna die, and then people are gonna burn it.
But that's because of the murders you committed, and you wanted to document them all. So yours will actually be like admissible in a court of law.
It's a whole Dahmer thing. Yeah,
it's a whole Dahmer thing of you know, like another hobo went missing, and you're like, snip, 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 snip,
I was just trying to fit in with you, but you got me, dude. That's a whole storage full. I'll leave you the key when I pass.
Okay, but you got to make it a scavenger hunt. Like you can't just give somebody the key. You have to have a setup scavenger hunt. Like every psycho does, and then it leads somebody on a path, and they'll make a movie out of it, like Zodiac.
Because I'll get bored. All killers get bored. You know,
it's what you do while you're waiting for your victims.
Yeah, it's the best high, killing somebody. That's what I hear.
And I'll tell you what, we're coming off a high because the Suns killed the Spurs tonight.
Yes,
wicked segue. And I think that it was a fantastic victory. Obviously, playing against the Spurs is always a win. You're going to get no love lost from the Suns jam session. You play the Spurs. I don't care if they got Bates Diop and 10 other guys. I can't even say their names. Beating the Spurs is something that I take joy in. And yeah, I still think it's weird that we have divisions in basketball. Like it should just be conference, because division doesn't matter. It's not like you win the Pacific Division, but you have a worse record than somebody, so therefore you're popped down. You know, like we see that in the NFL, right? If you win the AFC East, even though you have a worse record than a wild card team, you're going to get a home game.
That's the way it was. Though. That's the way it was. That's why I think like 2, 3, maybe max years, we're still going to see the divisions. Things are going to get crazy. The baseball's already doing crazy shit. I mean, the NBA has been adjusting very well.
Yeah.
And now people are like, can we go back the old way with the All-Star stuff? I think we talked about that. But it's just like they're going to keep progressing in a good way, and they'll remove those divisions.
I hope so. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. So sorry for the tangent, Jamsters. Again, welcome to the Suns Jam Session podcast. He's Matthew. I'm John. We're excited that you're hanging out with us following another Suns victory. Their 6th consecutive victory and their 7th overall with Kevin Durant. He's 7-0 as a member of the Phoenix Suns. So we got plenty to talk about on this edition. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review. If you're watching along live on YouTube or watching later, smash that thumbs up button. It doesn't take any effort, really. Like you're sitting there watching. If you're holding your phone, you just go, boop. That's all it takes.
You must hate us if you don't hit it.
Yeah. And if you don't give us a review on Apple Podcasts, I don't care. That takes time. Like I get that. Like you got shit to do. You got to open another app. It's a pain in the ass. You got to hit 5 stars and then type in like, they're very nice people. I like the way when they talk about basketball, I like what they say when they talk about basketball.
Also, Spotify, we're almost at 100 reviews at 5 stars, so we're 11 away. If you visit that'll look really cool. 100 for 5 stars.
That would be pretty dope. And I'll say this. it's easier on Spotify because you just give 5 stars. We're not asking for a review.
Yeah,
But if you go
five
to
stars.
Apple,
I see it. I'm happy.
If you go to Apple, we're asking for a review, and guess what? We got a new review, Matthew.
Thank
we
God.
got one from
Thank God.
Oh, you're gonna love this one. This one's quality. This is from Van Dunk, and he says, "Great pod, such a great post-game pod, insightful and fun. I think John and Matthew make a great couple, and I'm glad we live in a society that is accepting of their kind of love." That's from Cam.
Just like when Dave introduced you or as me as your partner to his wife.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, this is John's partner,
is John's
Matthew."
partner.
She's like, "Oh, that's nice."
She's like, "You guys are just adorable." I'm like, "No, whatever. You know, you do
doesn't
you,
matter
boo.
anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't matter." So, but thank you for that review, Cam Van Dunk. We appreciate that, and anybody who again does that for us, we truly appreciate it as we gear up for the playoffs here. So, plenty to talk about, Matthew. I'm not popping open a beer.
Good for you.
I'm back on the Watchers of Weight. I'm counting points again.
Oh,
I'm tired of epidurals and spinal injections. So I'm like,
there
yeah,
you
maybe I need to lose some the old weight. So I'm just going to drink some water on this one. So,
all right.
Jamsters, we're relying on you. Chug them if you got them, my friends. And know this, after I press this button from here on out, Matthew's in charge of the board. So
Yes,
this will be fun.
sirs and ma'ams.
So let's go. Easy victory. They win by a final score of 115 to 95, 96. I don't know.
94.
94.
Was it 94?
I think so. Yeah,
It's
I wrote I
94.
wrote the recap for the bright side of the sun. So you think I would know that? I hope I put the right score. Hope I put the right score in there. Like as Matthew does whatever drop he's about to do, I'm going to double check that and make sure that I put that in.
Matthew, I got to ask.
John, Matthew, I got to ask.
Ask away.
Last times we're going to see these jerseys? Last time, right?
Interesting you bring that up. So it was Originative Night, the first time that we've seen Kevin Durant in the City Edition jerseys this season, and it's the last time that we're going to see them during the regular season. And I was thinking the same thing. Are we going to see these turquoise uniforms come postseason? And truth be told, I don't think so, and I'm okay with it. I think it was a fantastic marketing campaign. I think it was very different, and I think it was great how not only the city embraced it, how the Phoenix Suns positioned themselves with the Native American tribes and recognized that aspect of what Arizona is and what Phoenix is. But I just, at the end of the day, I have to be true to myself, and I just don't like the way they look. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's just the way it is. You know, I respect them. I respect what they stand for. I just haven't really liked the way they looked. And there was a period in the middle of the season where we had them like 5 out of 6 games. I'm like, okay, enough. Give me some fucking purple and orange. Okay. Now, one of my favorite hats is the turquoise, my black and turquoise hat. Love that one to death. And it'll be a period in Sun's history when we look back at these uniform sets. We got to see KD in them. I think that's enough. I think you retire him tonight. Do you think we see him again?
No, I don't think we do. I think the only 2 jerseys we see, and depending, because I have to ask you another question, I guess. If we're going to wear just the sunburst and the black ones in the playoffs, we can do that, right? Like if we were to play the Lakers in LA and they're wearing yellow, can we wear the purple? I just, for some reason, I'm thinking,
100%.
I'm sure that's happened, right? I mean, it's a thing.
It's going to happen on Friday.
You don't have to wear just white. You know what I mean? So, okay. All right. Well, then I'm good with that. Because I think those are the only 2 jerseys we're going to bring into the playoffs. That's it. And that's the way it should be. The only thing that sucks, I know no one really cares. I just don't like the court, really. I think the court should have been a little bit nicer. I don't like the court the Suns have. I just don't like the look going into this playoffs like we had 2 years ago. I just don't like it. But I'll deal with it.
Well, I mean, I'm with you too.
Just win championship.
just win.
It won't matter.
And it looks like, based on some of the comments in the chat, that a lot of the Jamsters agree with us. Low Suns, ugly jerseys, great story. That's the best way to kind of put it right there. Crazy Luigi, the turquoise jerseys were just the orange practice looking jerseys we had. They were, except they put some trim around them and a better story
That's what
around
they
them.
always do. It's so
Metal Mike, I like the
disappointing.
turquoise, but it's been overdone this year. But Crazy Luigi just says he loved the court in question. Sustained, Crazy Luigi sustained.
But it's the same chord. They just did the outline, and I don't like that. I think it's cheesy.
That being said, in the postseason, and it's funny that, in a victory like this where the Suns win by what, 21, I'm sorry, a 21-point victory, we're going to sit here and talk about like jerseys and courts in the postseason, but that's the hard-hitting content that you want when you come to jam session, because you're thinking it too. You're sitting there, you're watching the game, you're like, wonder if we're going to see these fucking jerseys in postseason, I mean, you only get so many games.
It's the only thing you think about.
That's all I thought about. Like, I'm sitting there
thought about it the whole time.
I was trying to write the recap, and it was like Bart Simpson on the board writing the same thing over and over again. Like, will we see these again? Will we see these again? I'm like, shit. But I will say that they'll fold in the white jerseys because, like, let's say that they go and they're playing in the first round the Los Angeles Clippers, and the Clippers choose to wear their black jerseys at home. The Suns will wear their white jerseys in that case.
You wear the sunburst. Right?
No, because it's too dark. You can't go dark.
That's what I was asking. Yeah, I know
the Lakers
you can wear
are
the
different because
yellow
the yellow
and the purple, but like if it is a black, you can't wear the purple.
Correct.
Okay. See, that kind of sucks, but oh well, I'll get over it.
Well, and the other thing is, like, I'm gonna be interested because I think we both agree the statement edition jerseys are fucking awesome, and I can't remember the last time we saw them. And those are the ones that we are gonna see next game against Denver.
I wonder why that is. I think they just kind of got, because I think they knew going into the playoffs we're going to be wearing them all the time. Maybe they just don't want to get, or maybe it costs more money.
And you think of our last two postseason runs, especially the run to the finals 2 years ago, the Suns wore the shit out of that Valley jersey. Every home game was in a Valley jersey. Like 20 years from now, when people look back at the highlights of that run, they will see the alley-oop. It's in Valley jerseys. Devin Booker going for like 48 points in Game 6 against the Los Angeles Lakers. Pretty sure in a Valley jersey, right? So you still want to see some of the purple in there. And if you're going to go purple, you got to go sunburst, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, if they roll out and they have the Phoenix one, I'm like, oh, come on. There's no way. Because the players have the say, right? In these jerseys, obviously over the past 2 years, they've been just like, all right, we want to wear these ones. And that's what they've been wearing. So I always remember, just really quick, when LeBron and the Cavs always wore those black ones. I'm like, okay, so the players can say what they want to wear. So ever since then, I'm like, okay, I
hated those two. Those ones that had the sleeves, right?
They were the only good-looking sleeve ones though in the NBA.
They were.
That was the only ones.
Why did the NBA have a year where they're like sleeves? Yeah, and the Suns had like the cool thing about that one was like the Suns would look nice because they had the old Phoenix Western font, but then they threw them on fucking gray jerseys.
Oh, the gray was nasty. It made everyone look fat.
So gross. So gross. Yeah, everyone was out there. Like Tyson Chandler's out there looking pregnant.
Yeah. Well, speaking of being fat, PHAT, this guy actually wasn't that fat tonight.
Who the heck are you?
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
Did anybody see a sniper? Did anybody see anything?
I'm one of the best players to ever play the game.
Look at Matthew controlling the drops and having to work on transitions from one subject into another.
I was trying to cut you off like you cut me off.
That's what, now you know how I feel. But Kevin Durant tonight, 34 minutes played, 6 of 14 from the field, including 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. He had a block. He had 18 points. He had 5 rebounds. He had 2 assists. Not the greatest Kevin Durant performance. Not the greatest performance from Devin Booker either, who was 9 of 21 for 27 points. But efficient. And again, I find myself saying, God damn, or fuck, that was smooth every time he shoots the ball, man.
Yeah, but he was fumbling and bumbling a lot tonight, right? Did you watch? You haven't watched the new Succession episode, have you?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
I'll get there.
I laughed different. Oh my God. Like, I've never laughed that hard in my life at one episode of anything in my life.
Was it like Greg?
Greg and Tom, they go like 10 times. You see them more than anybody else. Like, they go hard with those guys.
Sweet.
It's like double or nothing with them, and it's perfect.
I'm all for it.
All right, yeah, but fumbling and bumbling. Like, tonight was just weird. And like, there was a one time at the end of the game where KD like couldn't finish and he got fouled, and then there were just I don't know if someone was asking him like, hey, are you all right? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. You know what I mean? So I'm not like, is this like an injury thing? But he just did not look good tonight. I know his shots look pretty good, but everything else, like even getting the ball in the paint, him trying to spot up for a shot over a smaller guy, he was losing the ball a lot. He couldn't bring it up over his head a lot of the times. He was very uncomfortable. It was kind of hard to watch most of the game. I know it's awesome he's on our team and stuff, but this was just a bad game. And you don't really want to look too far into it, but it's just like he might have some off nights. I don't know if it's a Chris Paul thing too, where like, Chris Paul, awesome game tonight, but he has those bad nights and maybe just like because of age. But KD, I don't think it's there yet. I don't know what happened tonight, but it wasn't a very good night. But also like there wasn't a lot of him. I think in the fourth quarter, he took over more, bringing the ball up, but it just didn't look good either. Setting up the offense, a lot of what he was trying to do to give it to Chris Paul, and Chris Paul just pass it back. He's just like passing it back and forth. It's like, what are you guys doing? Like, this does not look good against the San Antonio Spurs team where you should just be killing them. And they did. They killed them. And we didn't have a good game from him. And Booker played a little bit better. But I just thought it was strange, dude. It was a weird night to watch Kevin Durant. I think they were talking on 98.7 today, Bickley and Murata. They were talking about, the Mikal Bridges thing and him. And, it's always going to be like a back and forth thing still, right? I know we have KD, but you see how Mikal's playing and you're just like, this will never be solved basically until we win a championship. And I'm not saying I'm not happy with KD at all, but I'm just saying like, we're always going to have that in the back of our mind of like, oh, this is an off night. It's just the way he's going to play. Like, I feel like that's the way, of course, I think, because I'm a very negative person, but I've been trying to pray. I just spit everywhere. I've been trying to pray away the evil. But I think about that sometimes, but I'm not too worried. Are you?
Well, I need 2 Hail Marys and an Our Father, and then you should be okay.
Then I can go.
Then you can go, and you should,
Okay.
you'll pray, you'll pray your hate away or whatever. No, I look at it like this. This team in the first quarter looked amazing. 42 points in the first quarter.
Yes.
Okay, a season high. They shot like 76% of from the field. They were like 11 of 14 and 4 of 5 from beyond the arc. They were clicking. They came out focused. They came out engaged, and they came out with that killer instinct. And after one quarter, they're up 42-25. And as much as we want them to stay as sharp and engaged the entire game, it just doesn't happen. No team plays a perfect game. And as the game progressed, I think that mentally they're just taking their foot off the gas pedal, whether they like to or not. And they every quarter they outscored the Spurs except for the last one. And the last one, they scored 18 points, and the Spurs scored 18 points. So you have 42 in the first, you have 18 in the fourth, right? Like they could have easily had like a $140 tonight. And you talk about kind of like the fumbling, the bumbling, the challenges that KD kind of had tonight. You know what? He had a normal night. And I don't care if it's against the Spurs or not. Being defended by a couple of their long defenders, I think it just kind of made him a little uncomfortable. He might have even mentally been like, I can do whatever I want against this team. And when that opportunity didn't present itself, he was taken out of his game just a little bit. Do you want to see those things? No. You want to have your team sharp as an iron, or sharp as steel, iron clad, scoring continuously throughout a game against a shitty team, but it wasn't necessarily needed. So it's pretty much something that I don't read too much into it.
Okay.
The team's 7-0 with him. He had an okay game. I mean, Booker was 9 of 21 from the field. Like he was like 2 of 10 from beyond the arc. He's just chucking them up. Right. And that's what you do in kind of these games. You're tired. You're already kicking the shit out of the team. You're like, I'm not going to go at them as hard as I can the entire game because that takes effort. We're already kicking the shit out of them. Let me try this. Let me try that. That's the way I kind of saw it. I think the big question that we all want to know is why does Matthew never respond in our group chat?
Jesus,
who do you hate?
Who? No one, man. I see that thing. I see like one little the little what do they call it? Just a little notification on there.
That's what they call it.
It's like, hey, come on in here. And I'm like, all right. And I just look and I'm like so far behind. And I told John, I'm like, I'll catch up next time. And then next time I'm like, oh, I'll do it next time.
Good luck trying to
I just gotta get in there, get dirty, get muddy, rub some dirt all over myself, and get in there.
Just random shit. Throw them for a curveball. They're all expecting it.
Dude, yeah, the first like 8 minutes of that game was insane. They were 80% from the field, 80% from 3, 6 free throw attempts. DA was getting all he wanted. CP3, he was just remarkable.
Yeah, I mean,
what is that? What did I say?
It said left on red, Lissy.
Oh,
red. No, I mean,
my bad, man.
Don't do it. Cut me off.
You good?
Yeah, you're running the drops tonight. Cut me off, motherfucker.
The point guard.
All in this game ended with a total of 22 points. He was 9 of 14 from the field, including 4 of 6 from beyond the arc. 3 of those came in the first quarter. He was 3 for 3. 3 assists, 2 rebounds, a steal, a plus 24 for the Suns. It was and 33 minutes played. Again, a quality Chris Paul game. And that it's one of those national pundit, people from the outside looking in kind of point of views. Listen, if the Suns are going to have to rely on Chris Paul to be a spot-up shooter, a catch-and-shoot shooter, which is something he really hasn't done his entire career, he's a distributor, then the Suns aren't going to be successful because he can't do it. Well, he said otherwise tonight. He would dish out of the play, and then he'd be the last resort, if you will, and he was just chucking threes. And it was fantastic, I tells you.
Dude, that shot from out of bounds. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Where he was like, he gave up on the play. Someone wasn't moving. Obviously, I think it was DA, some other guy. They just weren't moving. He's like, we're up by 30. I'll just shoot the ball from out of bounds. I've never seen that in my life. And I'm like, wait, was the ball inbounded? And it wasn't. He just shot the ball.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that? I've never seen that. That's hilarious. That was good. He was just sick of it. He's like, I'm just gonna shoot the fucking ball. If it goes in, it's still not gonna count. But
yeah. It's like Bam says, like, I thought he was going for a valley oop.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Like,
I'm like,
no
wait,
one was going there.
that's actually against the rules because when the valley oop happened, we're like, wait, what? And then this one, I'm like, no, that you can't do that.
So he's just like, fuck it,
dude. He had like a shoot around before the game, right?
They all do.
Yeah, but he never does. That's what
doesn't?
They said. Yeah, they said it's a rare shoot around. Wherever I saw that, it was a rare shoot around for Chris Paul. And I'm like, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, you know what? I never do see him. You always see Booker and DA and KD doing their shoot around, but you never see Chris Paul out there. So chances maybe prove me wrong, but
you're
he
right.
never does, and he comes out and he's on fire, dude. He proved me wrong. Like he's that other guy because we talked about Booker had a bad game. KD was there. We won the game. Tonight, KD and Booker both were kind of they're pretty bad. Just not themselves. And then Paul won us the game. I know it's just the Spurs and the bench came in and did a great job, but maybe he's that guy too. Because when you say like it's a big four with this team, I don't really know if it is a full big four. I just think of it as like a Booker and KD and then everybody else. That's how I look at this team right now.
It's tiers, right? Like it's Booker, KD, and then it's like 8 and CP3. But that's like tier 1, tier 2 if you're drafting in fantasy football. Like those are tier 1, tier 2. And then like you have like a Kogi who would generally be like a tier 4, tier 5 kind of player. Right? Like and pick like the Spurs are not a good team to pick, but pick a team like and even the Lakers aren't a good one. Give me another team. So Jokic, right? Jokic is a tier 1. And then Jamal Murray's like a tier 3 player. You know what I'm saying? MPJ's a tier 4 player. So with us, I really feel like DA and Chris Paul are tier 2 players because at their position, they're a top 5 in the league at both. 8 and maybe a top 7. I mean, that's up for debate.
Yeah, I put DA your tiers. I put DA tier 3 just because of learning purposes. You still see things that he just needs to improve on, and he's open for a lot, and he's gonna have great stats because of all the shots he has. But yeah, tier 3 maybe.
Now I will say this: with Chris Paul playing in the second quarter, there's a moment happened, right? Like he hit the 3, and for those of you who were watching this game, it was fun because Al McCoy was doing the broadcast in the second quarter.
And awesome.
And for those of us who live locally, I hear Al every now and then if I'm running late from work and I hear the first or second quarter. And to hear him call a whole quarter while watching it, I mentioned this a few podcasts ago. We're growing up, that's what we used to do. You turn off the TV sound, you'd watch it, and you'd have the radio playing in the background. You'd hear Al McCoy. And growing up, it was the simulcast, right? Like UPN 45, it was Al McCoy, and Cotton Fitzsimmons and Al McCoy. And to hear him call that, and then you hear the Shazam, I didn't like get super emotional, but I got emotional enough to where it's just like hearing him say Shazam. It's something that you have to appreciate because it's gone. Like this is last season, 51 years doing this for the Phoenix Suns. And I can relate it like this. Vin Scully called Dodger games. And those of you who don't know, I am a Dodgers fan. I'm going to opening day on the Diamondbacks here in a couple days. They're playing the Dodgers. I'll be wearing that Dodger blue, baby. Boo me if you want. But I grew up listening to Vin Scully call games. And Vin Scully touched so many of our lives in the way that he cross-pollinated into major sports. You know, Buckner behind the bag. Like that was Vin Scully calling that game. And last year he passed away probably about a month after my pops did. And like that was one of the most emotional moments for me was because like I grew up listening to Vin Scully and my dad and I used to talk about him and you know, that was just a part of my life had just ended. And as Al rides off into the sunset, we're all going to have those moments where like tonight where he said Shazam after Chris Paul hit a 3. And it was just one of those things where it takes you back to being a 9-year-old kid, you know, and just hearing that and tickling the twine and all the little isms that Al McCoy has said. So my hope is one of the beautiful byproducts potentially of the season, if the Suns can somehow, some way win their first championship, it's still under Al McCoy's watch. And I think that would be something that you can't even put into words how special that would be.
No, it'd be the perfect ending. He just makes everything bigger, dude. Like I remember like just listening to him. But the thing is, like when I grew up, I only had UPN. And from what I remember, I don't remember if it was him or who was doing the Fox Sports at the time. Like the home games, you know, UPN was away. And then Fox Sports, wasn't it somebody else?
God, I just don't remember
that far
back.
I
remember when it was in like both of them. When they first had Fox Sports Net, like some of them were on UPN and some of them were on Fox Sports. I don't know if he did both. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember it's not even now McCoy, but like UPN, and then it would be so cool to see an actual home game. Like it was just so different, dude. It just felt so fucking weird, and like it would always be at someone else's like big screen. Like everyone that had like the cable box or whatever it was, the Obama box, whatever to watch it on, they would have the Suns home games, and I was like, oh, this is like a different experience in UPN. That was amazing.
It was. And again, like that old intro and stuff. And for those of you who watch us do the jammies, like we use that old intro and we'll be doing the jammies here in maybe next week. Like, I think we should do the end of season jammies at like after a play-in game or something. I don't know. But I mean, those were just special moments. And he's been with this organization for so long. I was actually there the night when they put him in the Hall of Fame in 2017. I was there and Charles Barkley just talked about himself the whole time. But again, just hearing him run that quarter, he still got it, man.
Yeah, he's perfect.
So
man.
there.
Oh my God. Like it seemed like it was when I was young, like when he was like 40, 50 years old or whatever, however old he was. You know what I mean?
It was like him and Vin, man. Like those, there's nothing like him. Like those are the sounds of my childhood. It's like Vin's gone and now Al's going to be done doing this. And it's just, you know, it's just another reason that I just realized I'm 40 years old now and getting old sucks. You got to count your points and not drink your beers.
Yeah, so I was going to say something before I do the next drop. I was actually going to take a turn on this one. So this is the opposite of going down the memory lane of Al McCoy, because this guy was benched. What?
Here comes the pain.
In this game, 0 minutes, 0 shots, 0 assists, 0 rebounds. Where the fuck was Cam Payne?
Oh boy, I don't know. I would worry about this if KD was not on the team, because I kind of wanted just, KVD to take over that second unit thing. But I mean, it's well deserved, kind of, right? He's been sporadic. The only guy left, the other nut that we have out there is Shamit running around, just kind of ruining the offense, just because I still can't trust him. So Payne's the other guy too, but I don't mind it. I mean, I guess you're just like, well, who's taking his place? Really, it's KD. So you know what I mean?
True.
For a lot of it, it is KD. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. If we still had Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, we're counting on the second unit even more. This is a big issue, but right now it's not a bother to me. I can deal with that.
So think about this. Okay, this is the way that I think you noted it on Twitter, or somebody noted it on Twitter that he wasn't out there. And then I looked at it, and then I started thinking, you're right. Since Kevin Durant's joined the team, okay, the last 3 games prior to this. 5.3 points. He's shooting 40% from beyond the arc. So like he's putting in the stats. So you're sitting there like, well, why no campaign? We had a clean bill of health tonight. And here's why I think, and I think it's a pretty simple answer. Monty Williams is trying something. Monty Williams is using tonight as kind of like, hey, take a rest campaign. You can take the night off, and I want to try a couple different roster adjustments. So we started the second quarter with Kevin Durant out there and Chris Paul, and then you had Torrey Craig, you had TJ Warren, you had Landry Shamet. So essentially, Shamet kind of is the one who took the spot, if you will, of Cameron Payne in this, in an effort to kind of see how Shamet plays next to Durant and Paul. If he's playing the 2, how's he playing the 2? And he responded playing like shit. Landry Shamet did not look good. Now, he did, I will say, in the second half, have a couple quality box outs, the hustle plays, those little things. If you're looking for those things, like he did some of those well, but he's still not shooting the ball well. So I think that Monty Williams is simply just saying, hey, I want Landry to see how he responds with this lineup. And I want to see if maybe we can get him going a little bit, try to get his confidence up. Because that's what you're doing in this last week of the season, is you're trying to just build the confidence up of some guys. And again, see what some of those plus minuses look like with specified lineups that you haven't necessarily tried. That's one they haven't tried yet this year. Like if we went back and we looked at all the lineups, the 5-man lineups, I guarantee you there's no combination of that.
No, and we're going to have to rely on Shamet in certain points in the playoffs, but just in certain situations, foul trouble, who knows? He needs to come in. So I get that, like, hey, get these guys some confidence, but this is just who they are by now. I really think that it is. I think you're going to have the really like up and down Jekyll and Hyde kind of games, like
that's
campaign.
Why they're reserves, right?
Yeah, but right now Shamet's just, oh, dude, I was the biggest fan earlier this year, but right now it's like I'd given up on him. I really have. I think the times he's supposed to shoot doesn't shoot. Then he shoots. It's like, what kind of shot was that? Like he had this one, his first play in, this ISO play where he's trying to take the guy off the ball, and he should have shot one way going right, but then he pulled back and like he had this nasty ass shot. Yeah. So things like that, it's like you should know what to do. The way this team too is like ending quarters. I know tonight doesn't really matter, but it just seems like him, TJ Warren, like the whole TJ Warren thing where he doesn't know when to shoot the ball and when not to shoot the ball. That's the stuff you don't want. Those are the things that are like kind of, you got to tidy up a little bit going to the playoffs. Like we got a little bit better at finishing quarters. Remember when we were so bad at it?
Oh yeah.
Where we would give up the buzzer beaters, but then also we would just take the nastiest shots. It'd usually be Booker. Now it's like, we're not even getting shots off in time. We're just like kind of like passing the ball up. Last game, TJ didn't shoot it, but then he did shoot it too soon. And then Booker's mad. And tonight he passed up to Booker.
Yeah,
with 2
he's
seconds
wide
left. Wide open
open.
shot.
Wide
he's
open.
Like, well, wait,
like,
it's not
Booker.
1 second left. Yeah, he's like, it's 3 seconds, so let me pass it one more time. And he just kind of keeps his head down going to the bench. And you can see Book kind of being like, what is going on with this guy?
Dude, just shoot it.
Those are the things that I'm looking out. I'm just like, those guys have to be confident when to shoot, when not to shoot. And whether they make it or not, I don't care. But if they're that incompetent, just to like, take a dribble, get to a worse spot, and then pass the ball up, and then just not be confident in their shot, that's the thing that's going to really bug me going to the playoffs, because just shoot the ball, man.
You have to tidy that stuff up. I completely agree. And that's where, again, from a confidence standpoint, I think that Monty's trying to get a couple of those guys' confidence. Campaign has looked good recently, right? And Scheinbach in the chat says, I disagree, Voida. I think Payne is banged up. He had a moment a couple games ago where he got up hobbled, didn't return in that game. So, and I think that's part of it too. I think. What's that?
No, I was saying I forgot about that. I always forget, like, there's always like an injury, and that was something. Yeah, so maybe that's it.
And I agree. That's a factor as well. So if you can do two things at the same time, if you can say, hey, Cameron Payne, you get the night off because you are hobbled, and we can get Landry Shamet in this lineup in an effort to try to get him going. He's playing with 2 Hall of Famers, right? And that was the same challenge at the beginning of the fourth quarter, where we gave up a 9-2 run to start the fourth, where again you have you have Landry Shamet out there with Chris Paul and Kevin Durant and Torrey Craig and TJ Warren. And like that lineup gave up a 9-2 run and couldn't find themselves offensively. And then they inserted Terrence Ross, and then for some reason they started going. Now Terrence Ross shots not falling, not looking good, but they got Torrey Craig going. And if you're in charge of the drops,
what's up?
Let's go. Well done. Torrey Craig tonight, man, double off of the bench. He ends with a total of 15 points and 10 rebounds. He was 7 of 9 from the field. It's the best bench game we've received from Torrey Craig this season.
Yeah, and he really, dude, like him, Bismack, those guys off the
Busy.
bench, those two though, him and Busy, like they ended the game. They just made sure to go on that big run in the fourth, and then Busy's just down there swan the ball. But Craig is just getting to the rim. He's doing the dirty stuff. It started like last game, kind of. Before that, everyone was kind of calling out Craig a little bit, like he's trash. But dude, I'm telling you, man, this guy's gonna be good with these lineups. Like he can switch him in and out with Kevin Durant, and then also really quick too, like Monty talked about, having 2 of these guys out, 2 of the big 4 out there at least.
Yes.
And you can kind of see when the second quarter starts when you have Chris Paul and Kevin Durant. It looks good with these other guys, like, because they're great passers, and Kevin Durant's always trying to find like the cutter, the big man underneath, and he did that with Biz, but he can find Craig too on the cuts. But those guys that you don't want to really rely on for 3-point shooting, even though he was 1 for 3 tonight, which is fine. He made the 1 there. That's pretty good. I love it when he gets to the rim, and he's got to keep going and just learn how to finish more. And he's doing that. I think he is who he is now as an NBA player, right? It's not like a DA thing where it's like you got to get the reps in.
Yeah.
But I feel like the more and more he gets underneath the rim and trying to finish around big groups of these big fucking dudes down there, it's going to be hard for him to like miss, because I think he's going to get used to it. He's going to kind of build a callus and go into the playoffs and just be a little bit more warmed up to it, even though he is who he is. But I just think that he's just that guy that I want to see down there and doing that, because there's parts of this season where he just has a hard time like grabbing the ball, rebounding. He'll like go up for a layup, just totally miss. He was doing that this year, but he's gotten better. And I think after what was it, like 41 starts this year, something crazy like that from him? 59. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a ton of minutes. But I think he's come back, man, where he's just like himself now and he's more comfortable. And Josh Okogie didn't have a good night tonight, but don't start Craig, because Craig's getting comfortable on the bench now.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't switch that up.
The rotations are locked, and there's a couple things that I think factor into a quality Torrey Craig performance. One, it's the fucking Spurs. Okay, this is a team that isn't very big to begin with, and then Craig is feasting on their shitty second team, not length having asses, right? That's step 1. 2, this is his 4th game now playing in that role of coming off the bench again. We talked about 59 starts, a career high. And he needs to start settling back into that role, where his spacing needs to be, what the expectations are, getting used to playing next to Busy more because he's been playing next to DA for the entire season. The guys are going to be in different spots, so he can do different things around him. And 3, in his previous 3 appearances coming off the bench, he hasn't had this many minutes. He had 25 minutes tonight. The other ones, he had 12 minutes, he had 15, and he had 22. So it's a comfort level. It's repetitions. It's all those things kind of combined for this perfect storm for Torrey Craig to take advantage of, which he did. And you have to tip your cap to the juice for being the juice from the second team on not only the scoring side, but on the rebounding side as well. 10 rebounds, a double off the bench. Is a fantastic game from the juice. And those are the things we should continue to expect and see as he gets a little bit more comfortable. That's why this last week of the season's fucking important. Like, that's why. Now think about this. The Suns clinched a playoff berth tonight, right? So, it's official. Like, we're going to the playoffs. Playoffs? Yeah, we're going to the playoffs. If you go to playoffstatus.com, currently the Suns have a 99% chance of ending with the 4 seed. So that being said, these last 3 games technically don't mean shit. New Orleans lost tonight. New Orleans, if they could catch us in the standings, they would have the tiebreaker. They're the only ones who we don't own the tiebreaker against. We own it against the Clippers. We own it against the Lakers. We own it against the Warriors. So they were the only ones who could tie our record at the end of the year and take the 4 seed from us. It ain't happening. So technically, the last 3 games of the season don't mean shit. But what they do mean is, for reasons like Torrey Craig, for reasons like trying Landry Shaman out there with Kevin Durant, the beautiful thing in all this chaos that's gone on for this season and this past month is the fact that not having Kevin Durant healthy and people were injured and this, that, and the other, is it's forced us for this last week of the season to continue to fine tune and prep so we don't lose any edge, because we have post-traumatic Suns disorder from last season of trying to sit guys and strategically figure it out for the last fucking month, let alone week of the season, and how it took off just enough edge to where we ultimately fell flat on our face in the playoffs. So I love the fact that even though we've locked up the 4 seed, there's reasons for this team to go out there and try to perform, because they are still trying to sharpen the steel blade as they get ready to go through the playoffs with the fucking samurai sword, chopping off heads and such.
Dude, yes. Yeah, everything you just said. Amen, everybody out there. Just round of applause. Everyone get up and just show your tits. I think
if you're in the line at Carl's Jr. getting a double Western bacon cheeseburger, when you get up to that cashier, you show him your tits.
Yep, you have a samurai sword, you slit it right down the middle, dude. Free the nipple.
Word.
So I'm glad you did say that, because I honestly think, man, going into this, if we were to say, hey, we're gonna rest some of these guys, like, please don't do that. We gotta get things going. But
no reason to.
But what if, like, if something happens, like someone gets hurt, it's like, oh, well, we should have rested. Like, no, I'm all in. If someone gets hurt, fuck them. Then fuck this team. If someone gets hurt, like KD or Booker, then I don't care anymore. I'm like, oh, that trade sucked. We shouldn't have done that. That's where I'm gonna go. But you guys can keep watching playoffs, because we're not gonna win if someone gets hurt. But I really do think, though, going in at a steam, and you got to just make sure that these guys are clicking and they're close. They're close. There's just a few things I was trying to nitpick. I'm like, I don't really see too much. Maybe rebounding here once in a while. Maybe the bench, not finishing the quarters well. Okogie might have an off night once in a while, but there's nothing big, dude. Right now, like, it just looks like the Suns of old in a way, which is KD in there. So
yeah, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. And again, there's reasons to play this last week.
And were you in the subreddit stakeout?
You bet your fucking ass I was.
Out?
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
I was in that stakeout and I was showing my tits. Just walking around, just like, check these little nipples out. So, one thing I will say about hanging out on the subreddit for the San Antonio Spurs is it's weird, man. There's not a lot of people around there. It's kind of empty. You're walking around, like, knocking on doors, like, hey, you want to talk, man? Like, say something. Tell me anything. In fact, I forgot to upload the photo of the game thread. Can I do that real quick? Nope. But the game thread, it actually had a picture of the Kings and the Pelicans. It didn't even have the Suns and the Spurs logo up top. It's like, even they don't give a shit anymore in San Antonio. So here's some of the insight, and it's pretty funny. Branham having Durant cover him is good, because that means Phoenix sees him as a threat. But it's bad because Durant can essentially block him without having to jump. And shout out to Branham, Malachi Branham, 22 points, leading scorer for the Spurs tonight. It was him and Trey Jones. He had 21 points. Somebody said TJ Warren's on the Suns. They don't even know what's going on there. So the Suns are up 17 after one quarter. Let's see what the Spurs can do and hope nobody gets hurt out of this game. And it just brought me back to, like, 5 years ago. Like, think of the mindset of a Spurs fan right now. It's a Suns fan a few years ago, where we're literally just watching, seeing if there's any sparks, and then thinking about the draft.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they were doing this entire thing. Somebody said, can Chris Paul fuck off and retire already?
You always got one of those, at least one of those.
Yeah, I'm like, where'd that come from? It was all quiet in here. I mean, there's literally like 10 comments.
He's hugging Popovich over there, dude. They're hanging out. They love each other. They don't care about basketball anymore. It's just a game.
And then he goes out and he plays fantastic against them. I mean, you got to remember, Chris Paul's season high was 31 points, was against the Spurs earlier this year. There was that stretch where the Spurs hit 5 consecutive three-pointers and got the lead down to 9. And somebody said, who turned the three-point slider up? And this one was weird. It said, I like Dom's D. And I just kind of felt that was inappropriate. I don't know who Dom is, and I don't care if you want to talk about
Don Draper or Dom? Like Dahmer?
Dom, like Dahmer.
Dahmer's D.
Yeah, so, I mean, Who are they talking about? Probably Dominic Barlow is my guess.
Probably.
But they were just talking about his D, and I felt that was kind of inappropriate,
You
San
get those,
Antonio.
yeah. I mean,
Like,
for them, they're fine. They
when you
don't
come to the
understand.
Suns Jam Session podcast, there are no wiener jokes here. That's grow up.
No,
Grow up, Dom's D.
we don't even have wieners.
No, we're Ulix or whatever they're called.
Unix.
Unix. There you go. Ulix.
Is that a
You
car?
lick
A
nothing.
Ulick?
I got my Ulick out there. I got a 1975 Ford Ulick.
I got the old Ulick. Let's pop the hood, huh?
What's under that bad boy? Somebody said, "What an awful 15 seconds for Shamit." Woof.
Yeah, was it the first 15 seconds?
Yeah, probably.
God, someone get him some holy water or something. Something.
Exercise the demons.
Seriously.
And then the last comment is something that we can, again, if you're a Suns fan, you've been someone for quite some time, you can remember these nights where they said, apparently Detroit locked the worst record in the league tonight. Remember when we would sit around and be like, all right, at least we got the worst record going for us. We got a shot at the #1 pick. So glad those days are over.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, Dad. That was the Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout, dude. No wiener jokes here.
Oh, shit. Hold on. I was on.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Blaze Megatron. This show is so highbrow. Q, Big Dick Booker, John.
I know I should have at that time.
Yes, Stewie Dewey. Like now on Big Dick Booker.
All right, just for the thing.
Big Dick Booker.
Sometimes I wonder, man, what the fuck is wrong with us?
Nothing. This is how everybody is. We're all the same, but very, very different. But we all love dick jokes. We do.
It's like
everyone loves dick jokes.
I got people I work with, I manage people. There's people who rely on me to make sure that they get their paycheck on time and schedule them appropriately so they can feed their families. And they know I do a podcast, and I know none of them listen or watch it. And thank God, because they sit there hold on, Big Dick Booker, what's that about? I'm like, yeah, dude. Rumor has it the guy's hung like a donkey.
Yeah,
he carries the team on his. Never mind.
That's probably bad for
on
him,
time.
Probably bad for him though.
Just make sure you clock in on time. But yeah, 27 points for Devin Booker tonight. As I mentioned before, it was on 9 of 21 shooting, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, had 3 steals tonight as well. And yeah, led all scoring. Way to go, Book.
He's playing really fast. A lot of force. I think EJ even pointed it out too, but he was just getting to the lane, but he's letting go of these floaters mid movement where he's just going 100 miles an hour and they're just hitting the bottom of the net. These weird shots, dude. I know he hits difficult shots, but a lot of these runners he's throwing out there now, I don't know if it's not new, but he's doing a lot more. His shots just keep getting more difficult, but he keeps making them. Tonight was a little off, but
my observation is just the confidence in which he's playing with. It's kind of that I don't give a fuck confidence because I know that my team's got me. He's never been in this headspace before. That's something that the team's 7-0 with Kevin Durant, and Booker's in this completely new headspace. And tonight's one of those things where it's okay, man, you don't need to jack up that many threes. But again, you're tired. You're
trying to hit
the
daggers.
He was trying to hit the daggers to get to 30 points. He was at 27 the entire. I don't think
he's that selfish. I'm just joking, dude.
Yeah, right.
It's been a while for 30, right?
Yeah, but we remember him with the 70-point game. Fishing. I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad thing either, but I just feel there's a confidence level there and an energy level, as you mentioned, the pace, the speed, the headband. He's got a. His head looks like a cock ring out there. It's just, he's just
cock rings falling off. Not tonight, though. Not tonight. When Katie gets hurt, it fell off right away.
But it's just, I think that it's going to be fun to watch this postseason run, knowing that he's got Kevin Durant standing next to him and he knows it, and that's going to free him up, and he's excited for it. So that's my take on Devin Booker.
Stewie Dewey says, bunch of Tate's top G's here. Yeah. I went to his school, dude. I paid the $5,000 how much, and look at who I am now. So, I think it's helped a lot, dude.
We're so happy. We're so happy.
Jam star of the game.
All right, Jamsters, reminder, hit that thumbs up button while you're hanging out here. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. We'll read it. If you're on Google or Spotify, just hit the 5 stars and carry the fuck on with your life. Jamstar of the game. Who you giving it to, man? Who you giving it to?
This is a weird one. It's gonna be Chris Paul.
Easy
though.
one.
Yeah.
Easy one.
It's funny because like
Not who I'm picking.
Booker 27, but Chris Paul. You gave it to Craig, huh?
22 and 3 for Chris Paul, and you're giving it to him? No, this is an easy one.
9 of 14 shooting came out hot.
4-4. You know what that means?
4 blocks.
No.
4 hamsters. What?
Jamstar of the game, Emma Schweikart.
Oh, cute. Yeah. Happy birthday, Emma Schweikart.
Happy birthday.
She watches every
Emma.
night, I'm sure.
I'm sure she walks Eugene and she listens to the show. So happy birthday to our niece Emma. And if I had to give it to somebody other than Emma, I'm giving it to Torrey Craig, man. Great game by Torrey Craig. Bismack Biyombo, man. Block Biyombo played fantastic.
Close the game out, man.
10-4. Copy that. He had 10 points and 4 blocks.
That chase down one too. I think that was a block. It was going up. He should have had 5. That one was close. And if the game was close, maybe they challenged that, but didn't really matter.
They didn't.
Al McCoy, Jamstar.
Al McCoy. We got Craig from Suns Fever. Crazy Luigi's like, hard to tell. He's really thinking it out. He's thinking out loud as he's typing. He's like, hard to tell. Maybe Devin Booker, CP3, or Torrey Craig this time around. Again, Al McCoy, the Forgotten Man, DA Jamstar. Yeah, we didn't even talk about DA. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Craig, Biyombo, Al. Let's go, Emma. Stewie Dewey. Let's go, Emma.
Let's go, Emma.
Yeah, that's the Jamstar. Up next for the Phoenix Suns, right? Is that what we're doing now? Is up next?
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. Do you have the
Big
graphic?
Game. Nope.
You cork soaker. So we're playing the Denver Nuggets next. That's on Thursday. Matthew, I will say this.
Yes.
You're going to need somebody to host with you.
Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah, I'm at the Diamondbacks game. Now,
Are you?
Yeah, it's opening day. I go with my mom every year. So if you guys are at the Diamondbacks game, leave me the fuck alone, okay? I want to eat my hot dog in peace. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. Well, Jamsters, you know who wants to come sit down
But that being
next to me.
But that being said, Matthew, baseball games are wicked fast now. The game starts at 7.
I was watching the Yankees today. I was like, wait, that's already a full inning?
It's fantastic. Are you liking it? It was fun, right?
I watched only a little bit of it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but one inning was over in 10 minutes. I was like, this is awesome.
It's great. I love the changes that they're making. There's more action. From a fantasy standpoint, you missed out this year, bud.
Yeah, I did, but I made the right choice. It was tough. Dude, I loved fantasy last year, and I was like, I can't do it this year.
Yeah, it's a lot, but I always like fantasy baseball the first 2 weeks. Then I'm just like, oh, fucking dog days of summer.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I might be able to come on the show at some point, knowing that I'll probably get home with about half of the show left, because it's 10:08 right now. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we'll see. But if somebody wants to host with Matthew, that'd be great. And I see a Stewie Dewey. He says, fuck the Dodgers. You're right. Fuck the Dodgers, man.
F them up, dude.
But go Dodgers, baby. Don't hate that beautiful Pantone 294. That Dodger blue is so beautiful. Makes my eyes pop. I love Dodger blue. I love them Dodgers.
They be hating.
Childhood trauma.
I was thinking earlier, I was like,
childhood trauma.
Yeah, so I actually have a topic. In a minute. It's been a while.
Yeah, what's the topic? This is great. I love it when Matthew runs the drops.
Oh, it's the best night of your life, right? Isn't it?
I haven't had to press shit. I'm doing hand movements and such.
You playing with yourself down there? I was thinking, speaking of playing with yourself, one thing I was thinking, you got caught doing as a kid that was embarrassing, something that you were trying to do. It could be any age, of course, but something you were trying to pull off before a parent or someone saw you and snuck into your room, what are you doing? Something like that, maybe.
Do you have an instance?
I have one.
Lead us off and let me think.
And I don't know why I even want to tell anybody this. I might have already said this one. But I might have said this. So let me know if I did. When I was little, I used to have I was probably 5 or 6. I don't remember. And I had a big pencil Did I say this? It was
Nope.
like a okay, cool. Oh, I can't wait to tell you.
Yes.
I had a big
huge
pencil. I had a big pencil that was a piggy bank, and it was
Okay.
the same size as me. So I was probably 5 or 6, and I used to watch Charles in Charge all the time. And I used to, yeah, my dad, he would actually put, he would build me a fort outside in a box and cut it out and then have a window and stuff. And then I would sit there and watch Charles in Charge outside with my snacks and stuff. So I was watching it. I'm like, dude, this guy's just macking out with everybody, dude. He's macking out with anybody that walks through the door. They're just kissing. So then I got in my room and I had my big pencil.
And you started
this
making
is where
out
it
with
starts. So I'm like, I wonder like how old you are when you start like feeling that way. And I was like, all right, well, let's just see what this is like. So I pretend that like I would answer the door, and then and then the pencil would be like the woman or whatever, or the pencil, and then I would open the door and it would fall through and it would fall on me. We would just start making out, and I got caught doing that because I kept doing it
Who
over
caught
and over
you? Who
again.
caught you?
My dad.
What did he
Yeah.
say?
He didn't say anything, and I acted like I wasn't doing anything, but he caught me. So that's the thing. Is like he didn't get mad or anything, but it was like I was just making out with my pencil. So yeah, that's a good story.
Good.
I feel like I've
story.
told people that one before. So I was like,
That's
yeah,
a
let's
great.
give
I
that a
haven't
shot.
heard. I haven't heard that one. And Charles in Charge. I feel like you've used that in fantasy names or something, like fantasy football or baseball names or something.
Yeah. The Ted Dan. Yeah, when I had the fantasy league, it was a Ted Danson award. It was Who's the Boss? Who's the Boss? Or was it Who's the Boss? But I think it was Charles in Charge I was watching, but Who's the Boss was the league. Yeah.
Coach Fallen Founder. This is why I tune out at the end. Oh, tune in till the end. Oh, okay.
You never know.
Yeah, so says Jay, like, I mean, what's a father to say to that? Safer than a tube sock?
Yeah. There's a little slit on top.
Shit. I don't think like I have any true like traumatizing like I got you moments, but I do have kind of a funny one. Like I was mortified, obviously. So grew up in a very conservative family, much akin to yourself, yada yada yada. And I used to live on 40th Street in Clarendon. Okay, corner house, 3929 East Clarendon Road is where we moved to. And one time I was out front. I used to have a basketball hoop out front. I used to always be playing. And then one time there was just like a bunch of trash like on the side of our house. And we're on the corner, right? So 40th Street's a fairly decent street. And there was some trash there. And I was just like, who came in? It looked like somebody came and just like dumped trash in our front yard, essentially. So I walked over to, and this is, I'm like 11, 12. And I walk over to it and I start picking it up because my dad yelled something out. He's like, hey, can you pick up that trash? I'm like, yeah, Dad, whatever. And I just remember it's hot out because it's Phoenix. And I go and I start picking up the trash. And as I'm throwing this shit away, there's a nudie magazine in there. And the first thing I did is I ran and like I had at that house had oleanders all around the house. So I grabbed the magazine. I ran over to the side of the house. I threw it in the oleanders, right? And for those of you who don't know who oleanders are, like Google it. Like they're huge. They actually killed one of my dogs. Like one of my dogs was out there chewing on it and it died. Like,
oops,
dang,
dude.
So, and then I used to go like visit that magazine. I'd go out there like, oh, I'm going out front to play basketball. I go over there, just like look at it, and it's like I grew up in a very conservative household. I didn't see much growing up, so it's kind of like my first time seeing some stuff. And I remember one time I was out there and my dad had come out like 2 seconds later. It's like, what are you doing over there? I was like, oh, nothing. I was just, somebody left this magazine in here. And my dad like took it and he gave me that look like, and then he threw it in the trash, but like for like 3 weeks, like I was hanging out in the oleanders a lot, like not doing anything.
The oleander spot.
It was in the front yard, but like I was like, "Ooh, hey, what's this?"
Yeah,
and like I still have those images in my brain, and I can't get them out.
Yeah, the first ones always stick.
You never forget your first pencil.
No, first pencil. You never forget the color. I think it was blue. Yeah, no, I did. I remember my brother-in-law had him in the back of his truck behind his seat, and I found him one day, and he caught me looking at him. He was like, "What are you doing in my truck for so long?" I'm like,
I'm just looking." Blaze making I'll avoid it. The classic Bush's porno. Good times. Yeah, I mean, David Ray, oleanders, very deadly, just like porn.
Just like porn, yeah.
God, he was plucking his cactus. Oh my God.
Jeez.
Oh,
This is a terrible episode.
you can't erase your first pencil. Wow, that's some good stuff right there.
That's a t-shirt right there, right?
That's a t-shirt right there. Oh, well, on that note, Jamsters, I think we'll go ahead and get out of here. Again, thank you to everyone who stuck on this long to hear our horrible childhood trauma stories. That's what it's about. But again, we'll be coming to you live on Thursday. Matthew will have a guest host of some sort. I'll probably pop in or I won't. We'll see how many beers I have at the game. And yeah, we'll see you then. And then we got the Laker game on Thursday, or I'm sorry, Friday, the Clippers on Easter, and then boom, it's postseason time. We'll do the
postseason.
The jammies will be next week. For those of you who don't know what the jammies in, tune into that show. It's not live after a game like this is, but it's something that we'll let you know that we're going to be doing next week, most likely after a play-in game. Until then, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. Hit that thumbs up button. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review, and if you're on Spotify, just hit review. And if you're here, go hug your pencil or whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, go home and love your pencil.